If you've ever suggested that someone take a picture, it'll last longer when you caught them staring, you should know that some people out there did just that. We'll show you some embarrassing snaps of people who got caught with their looks lingering just a bit too long. Next time you have trouble tearing your eyes away from an attractive person in public, keep in mind that it may end up online someday. You won't have to get caught staring blankly at your screen, hopelessly searching for the latest videos from The Richest if you remember to click the subscribe and notification buttons.
We are thrilled to announce that your favorite list channel, The Richest, is hitting the diamond milestone of 10 million subscribers. Holy cow, that's more than the population of New York City. To celebrate this huge event, we want to give back to those who have made this incredible achievement possible. You know, you. We are hosting our first ever giveaway of 3 amazing prizes. Do you want to win a brand new iPad mini, a GoPro Hero 5, or an Apple Watch? All you have to do to participate in this competition is create a short 30-second video explaining why you love The Richest and which video you like the most. Upload the video to your channel with a hashtag in your title, hashtag TheRichest10Million. Copy and paste the text below in your description field, and boom, you are eligible to win one of our 3 super prizes. The most creative or popular videos will be handpicked by us on January 1st. Don't forget to share the video on all your social media. We will announce the 3 lucky winners in the first week of January, so make sure you tune in to hear if maybe you are the lucky winner. Best of luck, and don't forget, of course, to like, subscribe, and spread the word. Thank you so much. We couldn't have done it without you.
My eyes are up here. Maintaining eye contact can be challenging for many of us, but some of us are better at faking it than others. The people in these photos seem to have a bit of trouble with their eyes drifting downward, if you know what we mean. Even one of our most beloved cartoon characters, Tweety Bird, seems to struggle with this, as it looks like he's glancing in a very untoward manner. Suffering Sackatash, won't somebody think of the children? In the next photo, clearly this gentleman was trying to get a glimpse of this woman's shiny Playboy necklace, and it's just a hilarious misunderstanding that it looks as though he's staring at her cleavage. It's sad that we don't appreciate a man with an eye for fine jewelry anymore. There are a lot of ways to stand out in the crowd, but standing out in a group photo because you're staring at a girl isn't a great way to be noticed. He should have borrowed the sunglasses of his friend so that he could have performed his ocular pat-down without everyone noticing. Come on, guys, she's not even wearing a gorgeous necklace. Low prices, high fashion. Your local Walmart may be a great place to pick up random, reasonably priced items at all hours of the day or night, but it's also a great place for some premium people watching. Even if you're still a child, you might just get caught staring at some of the interesting fashion choices that your fellow shoppers are making. This little boy's parents probably warned him not to interact with strangers when they're out and about, but we wonder if they gave him any pointers on interacting with cheetahs. The grown woman in this next picture should know better than to stare, but we can't say we blame her, since it's not every day that you spot a lemur anywhere but a zoo or in the wilds of Madagascar. She's probably pondering the same question we are. Like, is it even legal to own a pet lemur? Aren't only service animals allowed inside Walmart? Is it possible to get a service lemur? And if so, how can we get our hands on one? Mankind is an unusual animal itself, and this woman can't seem to tear her eyes away from one particular specimen. Maybe she admires his taste in American flag decorations, or maybe she wants to invite him to her 4th of July barbecue. Cheerleaders. Sporting events are known for having a lot of action, and as an athlete himself, this is something David Beckham knows all too well. So you would think he would be more focused on the players on the basketball court instead of blatantly checking out one of the cheerleaders. We particularly enjoy his dramatic eyebrow posturing, letting us know that he seems to enjoy what he's seeing. We have a feeling his wife Victoria Beckham wouldn't be too happy about this. At another basketball game, Benji Madden was spotted seemingly unable to tear his eyes away from one Lakers cheerleader. Well, apparently, just looking wasn't enough for Madden and his friends, as it appears they also took the time to get a few photos so that they would always fondly remember their favorite cheerleader. We wonder if they were sending them to their fellow celeb and cheerleader connoisseur, David Beckham. Even Prince William has been spotted making eyes at a cheerleader, and not even his pregnant wife sitting beside him was enough of a deterrent. To be fair, Kate Middleton had a bit of an extended look at someone on the court as well, as she was caught staring at Cleveland Cavaliers player Lou Amundsen. Looks like the couple that stares together stays together. Keeping an eye on the Kardashians. For most of us, realizing that someone is staring at us can be an intensely unsettling experience, but for most celebrities, it's something that they're used to experiencing, and they seem to be able to easily brush off a pair of overeager eyes. Kim Kardashian is used to people staring at her photos in magazines, but you'd think an officer of the law would be above such gawking. We'd suggest that maybe he was simply doing his job and making sure she didn't shoplift anything from a nearby store, but based on her skin-tight outfit, she wouldn't have anywhere to hide any purloined goods. Even her fellow celebs can't resist sneaking a peek, as even on the red carpet, Usher couldn't contain himself when he walked past Kim Kardashian. Maybe he was just in awe of her posing ability, since he seems to need to work on that a bit himself. At least this time it's her own husband looking at her, although this is probably a moment that would have been better experienced in the privacy of their own home and not at the 2012 Cannes Film Festival. You animal! We like to give humans a hard time when we catch them staring, but sometimes animals get busted taking a prolonged peek as well. Of course, it's way cuter when they do it than when humans do. You might argue that animals aren't truly aware of what they're looking at when they're staring at a human, but these pictures are pretty convincing. Paris Hilton is used to having people stare at her, but they're usually not quite this her suit. We guess you really can get away with anything if you're cute enough, because Paris seems pretty enchanted with this precious little primate. Chimpanzees and humans have a lot in common, including our DNA, our opposable thumbs, and apparently our lack of propriety during certain occasions. We know the dogs don't have the same facial expressions we do, but we often ascribe human emotions to them anyways. However, it's hard to tell if this dog's expression is one of shock, joy, or horror. Perhaps it's even all three, as his canine brain struggles to understand exactly what he's looking at. Sometimes when you're tempted to take a good hard look at something, it's best to take a break and blink every so often. Speaking of blinking, do you know how many times per day the average person blinks? We'll reveal the answer at the end of this video. Celebs. Earlier we mentioned a few times that Kim Kardashian was the object of people's stare-fest, but she's far from the only celebrity to get a second or third look from someone. We all love admiring some quality red carpet fashion, but one Iggy Azalea fan took it a bit too far. Maybe he was just silently lamenting the fact that she looks far better in her suit than he does in his, or maybe he's just upset that she could pull it off without wearing a bow tie. Model Kelly Rohrbach just wanted to make sure she had packed everything necessary for a day at the beach when her hotel valet checked to make sure she remembered her bikini bottoms. While that would be an embarrassing mishap for sure, we are sure that Kelly could take care of that on her own. When attending a gala for the Irie Foundation, Jamie Foxx was caught staring a bit too long at a fellow guest. Maybe he was just curious about her undoubtedly unique interpretation of the dress code, but the guy behind him seems to be shocked at his lack of tact. Meanwhile, in the background, one man in a hat is having a similar reaction to Jamie Foxx. Good sports. Going to sporting events can be super expensive, and courtside seats to most games don't come cheap. If you're spending big bucks to get up close to your favorite basketball players, it's strange to think that you'd be seen staring anywhere but the court. In this photo, we see not just one gentleman, but several staring at the woman sitting down in front of them. Perhaps they're all envious that she's seated just a few feet in front of them and are daydreaming of a day when they'll be fortunate enough to get such a good seat. Watching an event is one thing, but actually participating in one takes an enormous amount of concentration. Poker tournaments involve high stakes and high stress, but one player found a rather unorthodox way to relax during a game. They say that some players have tells that will reveal if they're bluffing, but from what we understand, these generally occur above the neck and not below it. As a referee, you're used to paying close attention to fine details, and it seems like this ref forgot that only applies to the athletes on the court. He seems awfully interested in what this reporter is doing, and we are guessing that isn't part of his job description. Say cheese! Some of the unfortunate people who have been featured in this video were caught unaware that a photo was being surreptitiously snapped at just the right moment. More mind-boggling is the people who appear to be posing for an arranged photo and still managed to get busted staring at someone. Really, dude? You couldn't wait until after the picture was taken before you started admiring the fashionable necklace choice of the woman next to you? Maybe slow down on the light beers for a little bit until you have better control of your senses and your decency, or at least until your timing improves. Then there is this fellow who didn't even have the excuse of being overwhelmed in a crowd. Perhaps he doesn't realize that her shirt is ripped in a decorative fashion, and he's under the mistaken impression that she's suffering a wardrobe malfunction. He's surely concerned with how he's going to break the embarrassing news to this lovely young woman. At least the previous two people caught staring were smart enough to keep their hands to themselves, unlike this guy who seems to be pointing at a woman's chest during a posed photo. We have a feeling a relationship between the two of them won't develop as well as this photo will. Street smart. You never know who you'll encounter when you go for a walk down the street, and you never know who will catch you staring. You might think it's safe to risk a backwards glance at an attractive person because you don't see anyone else around, but little did this man know he'd get busted by Google Maps. Now his lingering gaze is immortalized on Google Street View for all to see, which is pretty darn embarrassing. Even celebs like Justin Timberlake occasionally enjoy taking the scenic route. You just never know what you'll see on a nice, relaxing stroll through your neighborhood, or who you might meet. Wouldn't it be easier to get an innocuous glance from behind the tinted windows of your limo? One would think that would be a major perk of being rich and famous. Some of these people may lack tact, but it's actually kind of hard to blame this guy for doing a double take. This girl looks like a real-life Barbie doll, and that's just not something you see every day unless you live in Los Angeles. Still, he's clearly staring just a bit more than is strictly necessary. Cell phones. Staring blankly at your cell phone for prolonged periods of time while at a social gathering is generally considered to be pretty rude. Staring at other people's cell phones, however, just makes you seem like a lunatic. Apparently, nobody told this guy who was spotted repeatedly staring at other people's cell phones. Maybe he forgot his own phone at home and desperately wants to feel in touch with the rest of the world. His staring is so over the top that it's no wonder he was spotted with ease. When these photos hit Twitter, everyone got a good laugh at these pictures. Some people theorize that he was sent to spy on millennials and see what we're up to on our phones all day, while others suggested that staring at other people's phones is the new form of small talk on public transportation. Clearly, he was trying to find someone streaming the latest video from The Richest because he had trouble figuring out how to subscribe himself. That's why we always try to remind you during each video. Were you able to guess how often the average person blinks in a single day? It's thought that humans blink about 20 times per minute, which equals 1,200 times per hour, or 28,800 times in a single day. When you break it down, we spend approximately 10% of our waking hours with our eyes totally closed. Beard envy. Beards are often used to represent masculinity, and we tend to picture people employed in stereotypically male professions as having beards. Lumberjacks, truck drivers, and construction workers are some people we always tend to picture with facial hair. Some people associate beards with being manly and believe that the more beard hair you have, the better. Of course, this belief is a bummer to those who are incapable of growing beards for whatever reason. Maybe your facial hair tends to come in sparse or patchy, or it just won't come in at all no matter how fervently you wish. Or maybe you're a woman who would be relegated to the circus if she dared sport a full beard. Although it would certainly be nice to have a nice warm beard protecting our faces during the cold winter months. Beards can hide a weak chin or skin issues, but one thing they can't hide is unbridled envy. The man with the smaller beard in this photo appears to be seething with jealous rage at the man with the bigger, fuller beard. Although both beards are the same color and appear to be of similar quality, when it comes to beards, this guy is of the mind that size does matter. Beauty blinders. Feeling secure is an essential step towards having a healthy relationship. We want to feel like we are the most important person in our partner's life, and some of us can't stand the thought of there being any competition for that title. With that being said, humans are visual creatures, and we often can't help looking at other people we find attractive. But for some people, even a quick glance at a good-looking person is an egregious sign of disrespect for the relationship. And that certainly appears to be the case in this photo. In the foreground, we see a beautiful woman dressed in a chic outfit crossing the street. Her legs are long and tan, and her blonde hair is held back in a casual ponytail. She looks to be in a hurry and doesn't seem to be paying any attention to the couple behind her. But the girlfriend in the background clearly thought her boyfriend was paying too much attention to the blonde woman. She even goes as far as to cover his face while they cross the street to prevent him from sneaking a peek at the blonde. While this level of jealousy isn't attractive or healthy, neither is blinding someone trying to cross a street, even if you're on a crosswalk. Meltdown. Few things are better than a delicious soft-serve ice cream cone on a hot summer's day, especially when you manage to coil the ice cream on top of the cone perfectly. It just makes you want to take a seat, kick off your flip-flops, and indulge in your favorite treat. You may be so enamored with the deliciousness of your ice cream that you are no longer aware of your surroundings. While we don't blame these girls for being lost in their tasty cones, it is pretty hilarious to see the reaction of the young boy in the background. He's clearly beside himself with envy at the snacks the two girls are enjoying, and he looks a few seconds away from throwing a tantrum. All he can do is stare in envy and confusion, pressing up against the glass in order to get even a tiny bit closer to the frozen confection he so desires. We certainly hope this story has a happy ending involving his parents getting him his own ice cream cone to enjoy, but we can only wonder. Maybe while he eats his ice cream, a fourth child will appear to stare wistfully at it, and the cycle will keep repeating itself. Green-eyed cat. While we may think of jealousy as a uniquely human emotion, any pet owner can tell you that pets can experience this intense emotion as well. Whether they're vying for food, affection, or attention, some animals are less subtle than others about hiding their envy. Most cats tend to act with mild disdain towards everyone and everything, but sometimes it's possible to catch them displaying a more resentful emotion. Occasional Breaking Cat News guest star Tommy has a roommate named Sophie who appears to be quite jealous of Tommy in this photo. Maybe she's jealous of his fame, as Breaking Cat News appears both online and in actual print newspapers. Yes, they still exist. Or maybe she's just jealous of his devilish good looks. However, we suspect that she's jealous that his impressive fluff is hogging the best spot on the cat tree. If looks could destroy, poor Tommy would be in for a rough time. He doesn't seem too upset, however, as he tosses Sophie a casual glance in response to her seething fury. You would think her perch on the highest part of the cat tree would be enough for her, but the finicky feline just isn't satisfied until she has it all. Typical cat. Hero versus hero. Superheroes have been known to band together to improve their chances of finally taking down a villain for good. But some heroes, such as Wolverine or Deadpool, seem to prefer to go at it alone. We always assume that it was a personality conflict that caused these heroes to decline collaborating with others, but it might be something even more basic. Could it be that Wolverine doesn't want to take the chance that someone might fill out their spandex suit better than he does his? We'll just tell ourselves that's the answer, as it's by far the most amusing reason why Wolverine would prefer to go solo. Supergirl and Power Girl are biologically the same person, so you would think they would get along fantastically. After all, haven't many of us wished we had a twin we could commit Parent Trap-style hijinks with? In this picture, the two are reunited, however, they're less than identical for a couple of pretty big reasons. While Power Girl smiles happily, Supergirl looks like she's feeling like something is missing from their reunion. There's no need to be jealous, Supergirl. You have plenty of talents of your own, even if they're a bit less obvious than Power Girl's. Hopefully, we didn't catch you looking unprepared for our quiz. How old are humans when we first experience jealousy? Keep watching our video for the answer. Kiss the bride. Every bride wants to feel like the star on her wedding day, and heaven help anyone who stands in the way of that. A wedding is the beautiful union of a gorgeous glowing bride and some guy in a tuxedo, barely indistinguishable from all the other men in similar tuxedos. Jerry Seinfeld once remarked that this is so if the groom fails to show, everyone can take one step to the left and the bride marries the next guy in line. While the bridezilla has become a common trope, even inspiring a television show of the same name, brides aren't the only ones known to throw tantrums at weddings. And with the bride constantly being lavished with attention, it's natural that the reaction of some of the guests would be jealousy. Although we may expect it from an adult, this little flower girl is showing enough envy for someone twice her size. As the ring bearer gets a smooch from the blushing bride, the flower girl clenches her fist in ill-concealed anger. If the flower girl is already jealous before the reception even starts, we wouldn't want to see the pandemonium if she doesn't catch the bouquet. Three's a crowd. Boys aren't the only ones who can cause jealousy with a simple lip lock. Maybe the two girls in this photo are deeply in love, or maybe they just listened to too much Katy Perry that evening. It's hard to say. But what is very apparent is the reaction of their friend. Being the third wheel gets a bad reputation, which is unfortunate because third wheels can be kind of awesome. If not for them, how would we get to ride our very first tricycle when we were kids? And the addition of a third wheel can turn a regular motorcycle into a badass trike that's easier to ride. However, most humans don't consider being a third wheel very enjoyable, and this girl certainly doesn't. She looks on as her two friends smooch, and the jealousy on her face is all too clear. Instead of finding some romance of her own, she chooses to glower at her friends who don't seem to pay her any mind. We have a feeling that after this photo was taken, she may have started pretending to clear her throat loudly and obviously, hoping to deter her friends. It looks like not all blondes have more fun. Man's best friend. We all know that dogs are supposed to be man's best friend, but sometimes we forget to be their best friends back. We may grumble about having to take them out to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, or become exasperated when they bark for seemingly no reason. Sometimes we even take them on romantic getaways with our partners as if that will make them feel like a third wheel. Because it turns out dogs don't enjoy that feeling any more than we do. For most dogs, there's no such thing as too much affection. They aren't afraid to ask for it by wagging their tails and running up to you the second you walk through the door. Although dogs are rarely subtle with their affections, they're usually much more subtle about their feelings of jealousy. This husky, however, is positively radiating jealousy at his owner's girlfriend, who doesn't seem to notice as she smiles at the camera. This photo was instantly popular, and people began making memes of the envious husky and his human companions. The pouting pooch looks like he just wants some alone time with his human without his girlfriend getting in the way. Best friends. Human relationships can be incredibly complicated. Just because we love our best friends doesn't mean they don't drive us insane on occasion. Like when they text back that awful ex we can't stand, or when they drink too much on a night out and we have to pour them into the Uber. But despite how they can annoy us at times, we still love them so much there's nobody we would rather grab brunch with on Sunday morning. Besides feeling irritated with them once in a while, we do also feel other less than charitable emotions towards them, including jealousy. We've all silently cursed our best friend's name as they beat us during the last round of Mario Kart or claim the last slice of pizza for themselves. However, we usually try to be subtle about it and not let it affect our treasured friendship. Although we are sure the girl in this photo appreciates each and every last one of her best friend's attributes, she looks like she's holding back some massive jealousy about a few of them in particular. She tries to put on a happy face, but the smile doesn't quite reach her eyes, which appear to be positively green with envy. Grumpy old man. We tend to think of jealousy as a powerful but base emotion, one we hope to experience less of as we mature and become more in tune with our emotions and the world around us. But there is no age limit to some things, like how we still feel our hearts swell with pride when our parents tell us they're proud of us, or our annoyance when they try to tell us what to do. This photo proves that you're never too old to get a little jealous. Or a lot jealous, depending on just how interesting your newspaper is when you get disrupted. This elderly gentleman is so perturbed by the couple next to him that he looks up from his newspaper in dismay. While the couple is making out like a couple teenagers, the man looks like he'd like to use the classic time-tested phrase, "get a room." Instead, he looks on enviously while the happy couple seems to pay him no mind. While making out in public is generally frowned upon, so is outwardly displaying such jealousy. We aren't really sure which is worse, putting your petty emotions out there for the world to see, or putting your tongue down your partner's throat for the world to see. It's time for the answer to our quiz question. How old do you have to be to experience jealousy? Researchers have identified feelings of jealousy in infants as young as 5 months old. When have you felt the most jealous? Share your story with us in the comments. Thanks for watching our video, and we hope you experienced a humorous emotion while watching these jealous ones. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest from The Richest. See you next time!